Okay, hello everyone. Um, I'm going to introduce to you a project for the week of May 18th to the 22nd. This is Mr. Truss for Conard High School and Hall High School in West Hartford, Connecticut. So this is a basic, easy assignment, and it's a classroom design assignment where with it, you can then redesign it in the way that you would like it. So I'm going to just kind of walk you through a couple different tools that are going to be posted in the Google Classroom, and you're going to have a pick between two different methods. You can do it the analog on paper method, or you could do it in a digital method. We are not going to be using the Home Styler program at the moment. We're going to do something a little bit less complicated per se, and a little bit simpler using actually a Flash plugin because the tool is still made in Flash. And so I want to kind of go over some issues that you might run into with enabling Flash, as well as just kind of roll out the assignment and then give you this video. So I'm going to do this unscripted and unrehearsed. I'm live streaming at the moment, but I'm doing that for simplistic reasons, and I don't have to upload. So if you're watching this live right now, congratulations. But if not, obviously, you're watching this hopefully Monday, the 18th of May. Currently, it's the 15th. So I'm going to jump between my screens and so forth, so bear with me. What I'm going to be doing right now is I'm going to switch over to my screen, so I'm going to shut myself off and kind of walk you through. So first of all, the design prompt is here in a PDF that's going to be in Google Classroom, and it's design your ideal learning space. Okay, so first I want you to brainstorm ideas, sketch out some ideas, and then create it either in the digital platform or use the tools that are here. So if you have a printer at home, you can print this document out. If you specifically go down and print page, I believe 8, you are given a template that's around 950 square feet. Each tile that you see here, or square, is a 1 square foot, and it's a little bit smaller than the average lab space that you'd see at Conard and Hall. So if you want to modify the scale a little bit, you're more than welcome to, but that would be more on the advanced side because the analog tools that you're going to see here down below, I'm trying to find the parts that you can use. I apologize. As I said, this is unscripted. If I scroll up then from page 8, let's go up to the previous pages. You have choices. These things are set in the scale of 1/4 inch equals 1 foot. And so if you print these out in pages 7, 6, 7, and 8, you'll have, even if you scale the paper, the scale will be still consistent with the furniture and so forth. So you can use scissors and a glue stick or tape, and that would work. So if that's easier for you than using the digital tool that I'm about to demonstrate, that's fine. But given the social distancing norms that we're going to have to impose, how can we space out the furniture and still make it a fun learning environment for us to want to come into and then do activities? So you can use this method, or you could use the digital tool. So I really want to kind of walk through some of the things that I will leave as an option. So this document, once again, will walk you through. I'm going to make a Google Doc that says who's going to use this learning space so that you can just type this out. What is something new or fun and innovative that you've added to your classroom that's not normally there? What kind of furniture do you need for this classroom? What kind of finishes and colors would be best? So what would you like your ideal learning space to look like visually, right? What color floor would you like? What color walls would you like? What type of flooring would you like? Tile, carpet? Is there a reason behind carpet, or is there a reason behind tile? You have to obviously consider the use of this classroom and think about materials that would make appropriate sense for the material. So we wouldn't put carpet in a bathroom, and there's obvious reasons for that. So maybe if this was a maker space that could get messy, what type of flooring materials would be best for that? Also, think about, can we make things a little bit more environmentally friendly? How can we do that? Ultimately, there's a couple examples here. If you have a QR scanner on your phone, you can QR scan these and then take a look, or you could literally just type in the names of these high schools. They're beautifully done. This is an example of a classroom that that you could employ, obviously with your own creative minds. If you scroll down, here's some elevations that just obviously give you your, you could print these out and make a physical model, right? And I'm going to walk you through that as well. That's going to be an option for extra credit. Here's, like I said, the diagrams. This is your furniture, so print out 6, 7, and 8, and that's all you need. Here's your elevations, which I'm going to omit. Now, when it comes to the material board, if we were in class, I think I would have assigned something along the lines of go to Home Depot or go to any of the building centers and grab some material samples and then create a material board as if this was actually going to get constructed. This brings a level of realism to this and makes your clients really see what you are trying to communicate to them. This is, of course, not going to be done, but this is really an important aspect of the architectural presentation. So the material board is exempt. Extra credit for the model building, and I can speak for myself. I can't speak for Mr. Fortuna right now, but if you were to make a physical model and then present that in your report, I will omit a missed assignment that you currently have a 0 for if that applies to you. So if you want to go the extra mile and make a physical model of your design, I can overlook a missed assignment that was not done. Here's some sample projects. Now this is a 3rd grader, so if you're in grades 9 through 12 and a 3rd grader can do this, of course you can as well. This kind of just shows what it looks like by default, and then obviously their material board. So there's 15 pages here. Please don't be overwhelmed by it. It's really 6, 7, and 8 are the 3 pages you would need to print out. All right, the rest of it is just research material. Okay. Of course, I'm going to switch over now. Of course, you could go to YouTube and type in classroom lab design, and there's a number of videos here that, of course, you could gain additional insight and inspiration from. Right? There's both good and bad here, so obviously be careful with what you're using as guidance. And that's pretty much the assignment. Now, I want to show you this other tool. I put it in the link into the description where you can get to this tool. And this tool here will allow you to design a classroom of whatever size you're looking for. So my classroom is approximately 40 feet by 40 feet. It's actually a pretty big classroom. So you can go down here and select 40, come over to here and select 40, and now you have your space. And now when I throw in my storage, everything is proportionate. Here's your teacher desk, student desks, or student tables. Obviously you have kidney tables, and so forth, sinks and fridge, TV, projector screens, easels. You could draw your own shapes. You can add your own text with, obviously, opposing text color. So, let's switch back. Test text, right? And you can move it around. I think you can nudge it with your arrows, and so forth. So, when you are done designing your classroom using this interface, you could simply print screen it or screen capture it using Lightshot, and copy and paste that and put that into Docs, right? And then justify your actions. So I know some students would prefer to use this, while some students would prefer just to print out page 6, 7, and 8 and paste it together, okay? But there's really no wrong answer here as long as you put some thought into it. I do want to go over what happens when you get to the web page and you don't see this, which most likely you will. So let me copy this. I'm going to go into an incognito tab and go in to show you, as long as it doesn't remember, which it shouldn't. You will normally see click to enable Adobe Flash if you're using Chrome. Same thing, something similar with Firefox, and do I dare say Internet Explorer. So you will just right click on it and enable Flash, or just single left click on it and allow. And when you do that with Chrome, and Firefox will have a similar procedure, this should work, right? And you can rotate your parts and so forth. So that's pretty much the technical ins and outs of using this little interface. And this is not complicated at all. This is a much more simplistic tool than when we were using HomeStyler. HomeStyler might be the next iteration if we decide to develop this design. But I want you to think of the space that you have between peers. Currently, I fit 24 students into a class, and I would imagine that would be consistent over at Hall. Max enrollment would be 24 for an architecture class. I would imagine that's going to have to be reduced. So let's just take that 24 and bring it down to 15 students, and use 15 students as the number that your classroom should be designed for. Where should the desks be placed? How far away should you be apart? If you have 6 feet of space between, which is the guidelines that we've been told so far, use the 6 squares on either the digital tool or the 6 squares on page 8 if you print it out. Okay? But ultimately, I want you to consider the of course, the social guidelines that we've been actually working through. So with that being said, that's your classroom design in a nutshell, and that's your assignment for the week of May 18th to the 22nd of the year 2020. I say that because this is a video, and it's going to be obviously recorded, and it's going to stay on YouTube forever. So with that being said, hopefully this isn't an overwhelming amount of work for you to do. Should take you approximately no more than 90 minutes. And, one of the things my students struggle with is they will obsess over something that is not necessarily needed to be. And then they'll spend unnecessary amounts of time. You need to consider that you are only given 90 minutes. You're not given 90 days. So the difference between the two designs would be obviously the time that you put into it. So if you're putting in, an hour into designing the furniture layout, that's more than you should be spending. So obviously consider the restraints that you've been put under, such as the 90 minutes, and then show me your work that you can do within 90 minutes. Now, how does this look to turn in? Well, if you printed pages 6, 7, and 8, you're going to photocopy or take a picture with your cell phone of the actual floor plan of page 8, or if you did the digital tool, you're just going to screen cap and put that into a Google Doc. The Google Doc is going to be provided for you with the questions that I want you to answer, and the PDF is really just there for you to print page 6, 7, and 8, as well as use it as an inspirational resource. Okay? So with that being said, I think I've kind of given you an introduction to the assignment, and I think that you shouldn't have any questions. Of course, if you do, reach out to Mr. Fortuna or myself, or if you're using this in another future date, or if this is another school, because I publicly release these to everybody, obviously ask your teacher, because they're probably going to come up with some sort of modification to the tools and resources and guidelines that I provided. So hopefully this is useful, and this is one of the first times I've really kind of indirectly given you a Mr. Trust type of class without actually physically being here. So hopefully you've enjoyed it. It's a little awkward for me. I don't normally YouTube stream. I'm not a YouTube streamer. So hopefully I'm doing a good job. So that being said, enjoy it, and I will talk to you next week. Now I got to find the YouTube tab to stop streaming. So have a wonderful day, everyone, and I will talk to you when I talk to you.